Your competence became everyone else's convenience. And the burnout that you have is not proof that you love your children more. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Co-Parenting with Dr. Jerry. We are continuing our Creating Healthy Co-Parenting Systems series with the topic of the invisible load, the stuff that no one sees until you stop carrying it. Please remember that I am here to assist you with the navigation of the complexities of the co-parenting relationship with clarity, compassion, and collaboration, ensuring a nurturing environment that centers on the well-being of the child above or children above all else. This is the place where we are going to have honest conversations about parenting, co-parenting, emotional wellness, and the realities of co-parenting that nobody prepares us for. The invisible load that I've been talking about is not just about doing tasks, okay? It's about being the parent who remembers, who plans, who organizes, who worries, who anticipates, that was me, oh my God, and follows up on everything regarding our child. These Today we're going to talk about the 5 strategies that I said I was going to bring to you in this episode from the last episode that can help reduce the mental and emotional overload that you may have while creating a kind of like a sustainable, more sustainable, if you have sustainable co-parenting dynamic that we all would like to have. Okay. Now, behind me, you're going to see, and I think I would be pointing this way. Nope, I think I'm supposed to be pointing this way. Behind me, you're going to see a graphic that I'm going to put into the description for this podcast tonight. I'm going to start sharing. I keep saying that I'm going to start sharing resources with you guys, and I'm going to do that tonight. All right. Along with this graphic, you may receive also, there may be another document that will help you with all of the content that I'm giving tonight and these strategies that you can use to help reduce that invisible load. Remember, we're talking about that cognitive and emotional load that we have as co-parents. So let's go ahead and get into it because I try to keep these episodes short and sweet. So I have 5 strategies for you tonight, along with some actions that you can take. I'm also going to give you like a reflection question that you can possibly ask yourself as you're going through these exercises. And I would suggest that you take some notes because you might think of some things as I'm going through this with you. And I want you to have those ideas. So let's go ahead and start. The first strategy that I would say you need to have is creating a shared brain. And we talked about this. We talked about this type of strategy in my previous podcast episodes where I was going through the 5 characteristics of effective co-parenting. And it probably fell within communication, I believe. But create a shared brain system. So the strategy for this is in creating this is that you're going to stop relying on your memory to manage your child's life. Your memory can hold everything all the time. You're going to need some help. And many co-parents become overwhelmed because they're carrying every detail in their heads, along with work details, along with personal life details, along with just living life details. Okay. So a shared system is going to create a single source of truth, information that reduces your mental clutter and the constant reminders that you would have to give your co-parent. I'm telling you, when we first started co-parenting, I was so tired of giving reminders about things. But at this time, my ex-husband was living out of town. and he was only seeing my daughter on the weekends when he would come in town. So he came in town literally like every weekend unless he just couldn't make it. And I would have to give him reminders about certain things that, had to go on with her over the weekend because I wasn't able to get them done during the week because it was just a lot, right? So I ended up having to start to put some things in place so that I wouldn't have to keep doing that because it was driving me bananas. So, some action steps, some things that you can do to create this shared brain system, and you're going to see it under, let me point again, under the create systems at the top here on number 1, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to go in order when you're looking at the graphic. So, you're going to first use a shared digital calendar if you don't have one. Easiest one for me was Google Calendar. Okay. If you have any other platform like Microsoft or whatever, all of them have calendars. You have a calendar app on your phone. You can share a calendar. Things that you're going to put on this calendar are things such as school events, medical appointments, doctor appointments, extracurricular activities that your child has, exchanging your child, like, or your children, drop off pickup. You can put those on there, okay, for the month. And then birthdays and special events that your child may want to attend. I also put on there things that sometimes I put on there activities or events that I had to do late in the evening at work sometimes because then I would need him to possibly pick her up and then I come get her from him, or I would just need to make arrangements, right, for that. So the shared digital calendar is going to help you see the month or the week, if you want to look at it by weeks, as a whole. So it's going to, at a glance, you're going to see all the things that need to happen and when they need to happen. So that is one source of truth that you can have of what's actually going on. And if you need to change dates and all that type of stuff, once you see the month and what's going on with the month, then you guys can have those conversations about that. I used to complete the calendar. I tried to complete the calendar at the last week of the month. I would try to complete the calendar for the next month. I would not go try to complete the calendar week by week because that just did not work. And if you have a school calendar, and we all know we schedule doctor's appointments well in advance now, especially extracurricular activities, you should know their practice days and their times and all of that well in advance, and their games, and you have calendars for everything. Okay. All you have to do is transfer those dates to your shared digital calendar. Now, the second thing would be to upload or have important documents in a shared folder. All right. Online, once again, Google Docs, shared folder. You can create it and you can drop all of your things in there. Even if you email that folder to your co-parent and they can see what's going in, whenever you put things in, or you could see what's going in whenever they put things in, you can do that. But the types of things that go in this shared folder are report cards, medical records, because if your co-parent is taking them to the doctor, they need to know what's going on and what the last appointment, what happened at the last appointment and all of that. They should know your child's doctors. All right? They should. They should also know what's going on with them at school. They should be going to parent-teacher conferences as well. So putting on that calendar, once again, putting on that calendar when parent-teacher conferences are, so they can set up their own appointments. They don't have to go with you. They do not have to go with you. They should know what's going on with their child's education and their child's teachers as well. Any school forms, like field trip forms, things like that. They also have medical forms that you fill out at school sometimes. Any documentation that they need to be able to pick up your child. If something is wrong, they should be on the emergency contact list. All of that. Shared folder. Sports schedules, shared folder. Okay. So these are important documents that help your child to live life and help you to be organized to provide stability and predictability for your child. It has nothing to do with the amount of work that you have to do to assist or help your co-parent. But if you have the information, why not give it to them? Why not? Yes, they can go look for it on their own. And if it gets to a point where you feel like you're being taken advantage of in that way and you're the only one doing that, then I would say, yes, that's a conversation and you need to pull back a bit. But if you are collecting these things for yourself and it is in a shared document, it's easy to drop it in there and they are responsible for going into that folder, not you. You don't have to tell them when you drop stuff in there. You can tell them you better check it every week. That's all you need to know. Okay? So they still have a responsibility to go in there and do whatever they need to do. And on that shared calendar, they still have a responsibility to know the information on that calendar and add to it when they have information. It's a two-way street. Okay. So number one, in creating your shared brain system is having the shared calendar. Number two is important documents go in a shared folder. And number three is schedule a weekly 10-minute review of upcoming events. Now, my ex-husband and I got to once a month, we would go over the calendar with each other because we had it in a shared calendar. We both contributed whatever we needed to contribute it to it. And then we discussed at the beginning of the month, hey, this gonna work for you, this gonna work for you, quick conversation. Does not have to be face to face, can just be a voice note. Hey, look at the calendar for the month. Let me know if we need to switch anything around, if there's gonna be any issues with X, Y, and Z. That's all I need to know. Let me know what you think. That's it. Voice note. All right. Can even be in a text. I put everything on the calendar, put some docs in the folder. Let me know what you think. That's it. Just that simple. But around the months, if you have school-age children, around the months of August and September, we had to talk almost every week because the schedule was changing from the summer. We're getting used to school rules, getting in bed on time, getting up on time. We're getting used to all of that. So we had to talk a little bit more around August and September, getting used to the sports. My daughter, y'all, was in 3 sports and she did drama and theater. Her extracurricular activity schedule was bananas. Okay. So when she started all of these sports, especially at the beginning of her seasons, her different seasons that she had, I think she, at one point in time, man, she had soccer, volleyball. At one point in time, she had basketball. And I think she did track. It was crazy. So anyway, and she did drama and theater. It was nuts. So anyway, so August, September, December, no, November, December, we had talk. Holidays, holidays. That's all I'm going to say. Holidays and holiday breaks. November, December, and then end of the school year, April, May, or June. Had to get ready for summer. What is she doing for the summer? My sister and I'm gonna tell you right now, started scheduling and looking at camps, putting down payments on camps and all this type of stuff. And I was a single mother, so I'm looking for scholarships and all types of things for these camps, right? Started in January. You want to know why? Because that's when the applications for the summer usually start popping out. And if you are the first batch of people to sign up for different things, if you try to get scholarships and things like that, and you're the first, round of, you got more of a chance of getting money if you're in that first round. So any camps or summer activities that you hear from parents are really good and all that, start looking for it around January, February. Because they gearing up, they getting ready for that first round of kids to get, for applications, January, February, for the summer. For the summer, y'all, they getting out before the holiday now in May. So they are gearing up for the summer. All right. So in doing all of this for your shared brain system, what I want you to reflect on and what I want you to think about is, what information are you currently storing in your brain that could be stored somewhere else more efficiently? Okay. What parent-related tasks, appointments, reminders, all of that are currently occupying your mind? And which one of those can you move to a shared system this week? Or set it up this weekend to start next week. Okay? What information in your mind can you start getting out of your head and get into a shared folder or a shared calendar this weekend? What can we do? What can you get together and get off of your brain? All right. So strategy number one is to create that shared brain system. You are reducing the amount of reliance on your memory to manage your child's life. That's what you're doing by creating that. So let's go on to number two. I want you to shift from constant communication to structured communication. And we talked about this, so I'm going to go through this one quickly. In my episodes about communication, because that's one of our main characteristics, the five C's for effective co-parenting, we want to shift from constant communication to structured communication. So this strategy, the strategy for this is reducing the emotional labor of repeatedly explaining yourself, reminding people of crap, okay, and clarifying for people. If we go from constantly doing that to a structured type of communication, it has a framework to it, then that's going to reduce that emotional labor on you. Many of us spend too much time managing conversations rather than parenting our kids. Shouldn't have to be talking to people that much, especially if you ain't living with them. Now, I can see if you are co-parenting and you're in a marriage and you're living in the house together, I get that. But you should not have to be talking to somebody that you ain't living with that much about your child. You just should. It's not necessary. Okay. So the action steps I want you to take for this. Number one, I want you to establish some communication guidelines. And we talked about this before because you got to have some boundaries. So what guidelines are you going to have on your communication? For example, emergencies equal a phone call, not a text. Okay? Not a voice note. Any emergencies, if there is an emergency, that means you should be picking it as long as you are okay. you should be picking up the phone to call me about that emergency. That's got to be the agreement. Any schedule changes, that could be a text and or a phone call. Because if I texted my ex-husband something about a schedule change and I know it's last minute, like day of or it's tomorrow, and he didn't respond in a certain amount of time, he knew he was about to get a phone call from me. If he waited too long to respond to me about a schedule change, he knew he was going to get a phone call from me. So schedule changes equal a text and or a phone call. Non-urgent matters can wait until we see each other at drop-off pickup. I mean, if you think you need to send an email, if you converse through a co-parenting app, you know, or if you just want to send a quick voice note. Hey, X, Y, and Z, just wanted to let you know. Let me know what you think. I always end it with let me know what you think. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Because that invites them to have some feedback about what you say. Even if the decision is already made that this is what I'm doing, you don't have to tell them that. You do not have to tell them that. Just say, hey, wanted to let you know X, Y, and Z. Let me know what you think. Even if the decision is already made, okay? It invites them to be able to give and feel like they are a part of the conversation. They are a part of what's going on with their child's life. If you had to make the executive decision and you're just informing them of what you did, even if you say, I'm just informing you I did X, Y, and Z, let me know what you think about that. That still is inviting them to have some feedback, even though they know the decision has been made. Okay. Number two, I want you to consolidate information into one message, not multiple texts. And but before you say anything, y'all already know people do not like text back to back. I don't like text back to back. Just tell me what you got to tell me. And I'm going to tell you how you can do that. Use a factual communication. Because a lot of times when we send in all that multiple text stuff, it's because you going into I feel and I didn't like and it ain't about you. It's not about your feelings. This is facts over feelings at this point. Structured communication. Say what you got to say and dip out. Fall back. So you can easily stick to factual communication, one message, not multiple texts, by saying what happened, not how you feel about what happened, just what happened. What needs attention? What do they need to do? What do you need them to do? And then next step. What's the next step? What are we doing after that? What happened? Brady got sick at school. I need someone to pick him up. If you can't pick him up, let me know so I can ask someone else. That's it. I need to know, and you need to give them a timeline if it's something like that, because they need to be picked up in a certain time. Okay? So what happened? What needs attention? Next steps. That's it. Avoid all that, feeling, emotional, the accusations, all that type of stuff, old conflict. Structured communication. All right. So strategy number 2 was we were going to reduce our emotional labor. of having to repeat ourselves or explain ourselves or remind people or clarify all the time. We're shifting from constant communication to structured communication. And our action steps were to establish the communication guidelines, consolidate, and all I got to do is look up here. I keep pointing the wrong way. Consolidate information into one message rather than multiple texts, and then use factual communication. Okay. Now, what I want you to do in doing this is I want you to think about, this is your reflection question. How much energy are you spending managing reactions instead of sharing the information? Because you can share one piece of information and then you have to manage somebody's reaction because of the way that you shared it. So you need to make sure that your message is clear. You need to ask yourself, like, is this necessary for me to even communicate? Like, does it have to even be communicated? Some stuff don't even need to be talked about. We just mention it because we want to get a reaction out of somebody. Or could that information have been combined with something else, another conversation that we had? So I want you to think about that. Think about your last maybe 2 or 3 messages that you've sent your co-parent. Was the message clear? Was it even necessary? Could it have been talked about with something else? With other information that you had? You know, some of those reactions that you've gotten from those messages may be because we're not structuring our communication well. And that's okay. That's something we have to learn. All right. Okay. So, third strategy, we are moving along. I want you to separate parenting responsibilities from responsibilities you have unintentionally adopted. In other words, you are going to identify what is truly your responsibility. Because many of us carry things that belong to the other parent because we have a fear of, if I don't do it, then it won't get done. Okay, sometimes things just won't get done. If it's not mine to do, if it's not my assignment, just like you have to tell some people in dating situations, you are not my assignment. Like, I know that. If it is not my assignment and not for me to do, and it's the other parent's responsibility, we gotta let that go. We cannot adopt that. Now, if it is for the safety of your child, I understand if you adopt that, but continuously taking on the responsibilities of the other co-parents is going to enable them, and it's not going to get better for you. So even if you have to legally take it upon yourself to do certain things, that's part of your responsibility. Okay. Now, the action steps I want you to do is let's look at number 3. I'm still getting it wrong right here. Clarify responsibility. It says know what belongs to you, right? All right. So you are going to basically, all I want you to do is create 3 categories. You can write it on a piece of paper. You can put it in your mind if you want to. That's up to you. But right now, if you have a notepad or you have a Post-it or something like that, 3 categories. All right. I want you to write down what's yours, what's shared, and what's theirs. And you're going to let it go. All right. So, examples of what's your responsibility. Your child's needs during your parenting time are your responsibility. Your child's needs during your parenting time. School communication that is assigned to you. School communication that is assigned to you. Those emails and all that come to you, that's assigned to you. If you want to share them with your co-parent, you can, but if they are on the list, if they are on the registration documents for school and all that type of stuff, and they get the same communication as you can ask, do you get the same communication as me from the school? Like, do you get the emails and this and that? They can always sign up for them. Call the school and sign up for them. Because I'm not going to keep giving you this information. Like, school communication assigned to you is your responsibility, and transportation you agreed to provide. Your responsibility. Those three, your responsibility. Child's needs during your parenting time, school communication assigned to you, and transportation you agreed to provide. Your responsibility. Those are examples. Now, let's think about shared responsibility. That's what's on our, that's what's up here. Shared responsibilities. Examples. Medical decision. Your co-parent does have a right to say what they think needs to happen with the medical decisions for your child. They have a right. They're taking them to the doctor. They're doing nothing. They may be paying for health insurance, all of that. My ex-husband paid for health insurance for my daughter. They have a right to do that. Educational planning is a shared responsibility. That's something you guys have to discuss. What school are they going to go to? Are they going to go to school where you live or where I live? Are they going to ride the bus? Are we picking them up? Are they doing extracurricular activities? That's shared responsibility. And major activities that they do. Major for you may be things like maybe, let's say if they're doing extracurricular activities, those games that they have to go to and attend in order to play. Any activities like birthday parties that they're invited to, or different events that they are invited to. Any awards ceremonies, things like that. So those are examples of shared responsibilities. So you have your responsibility, examples, you have shared responsibilities, and let's talk about their responsibilities. Some examples of that would be supplies that they need in their home. That means they're taking care of the child's needs during their parenting time. Now, people always say, well, I don't want double stuff, and they shouldn't have double stuff in each. Yes, they should. Why not? That parent needs to buy what they need at their home. They need to have what they need at your home. The two homes may not be created equal. And I'm going to tell you an example. I was single by myself. My ex-husband made more money than me. My daughter didn't have all the tech crap she had at her dad's house. Why? Number one, I wasn't using all that stuff and I didn't want her to. I didn't want her to get used to all of that. So she had books, she had art stuff, she had all the, creative, all that type of stuff in my house. At his house, she had the Wii and the games and all, all the things that he wanted to have at his house. They need to have all the supplies. She had a separate set of clothing. She had shoes over there. She had everything that she needed. That is to alleviate the problem of you talking about, oh, she took this over your house. I need my stuff back because I paid for that and all this crazy stuff y'all do. I don't know why. Because it is both. This child is both of yours. I didn't care what my daughter took over to his house. If she left it there, that's fine. That's her fault. She wouldn't have it when she came to my house. She had to wait till she get back to his house to get it. That's called responsibility on her part. Okay? It did not bother me, whatever she took over there. It did not bother him, whatever she brought over to my house. If something did bother him, he would tell her that. And he wouldn't be like, well, I'm coming to get it because I bought it and all crazy stuff. Y'all, come on, let's stop. Stop. So their responsibility is supplies needed in their home. Their transportation arrangements is their responsibility. Their communication with teachers and other coaches and all of that is their responsibility. I believe that both parents should have the right to talk to their child's teachers, coaches, all of that, as long as they are behaving in such a way that they are respectful, responsible, they are not belligerent and ignorant. Okay? In that case, the school has to do what they need to do. Those coaches need to do what they need to do to stop that communication. But you also should adhere to, just some decorum and just acting like we got some sense, y'all. Come on. I have had too many times where, one parent is acting a plumb fool and the other parent comes up to the school and is pleasant and nice. And I'm just wondering, how did y'all even get together to have this child? Because there's no reason for you to be coming up to the school or to games and all that type of stuff and acting the way that some of us do. It's just no reason. It's none whatsoever. If someone is treating your child inappropriately and things like that, I understand you being upset, but a consistent behavior of just being belligerent and just disrespectful isn't it that doesn't make sense, right? So that is their responsibility. Now, we had our 3 strategies. So number 3 that we just went over was we're going to separate parenting responsibilities for responsibilities from responsibilities that you've adopted. So you need to think about what's your responsibility. I gave you some examples. What are your shared responsibilities? And then what's their responsibility? And their responsibility you need to let go. All right. So you can list all of these things that you regularly do, and then you can start separating it into mine, what's shared, what's theirs. And you need to choose. I'm going to give you something to do. Choose at least 2 to 3 things that you are going to stop managing immediately that are not yours. By Monday, you should stop managing at least 2 or 3 things on that list that are not yours. And then keep adding on as you go on and get have the conversation, or you just stop doing it and see what the reaction is or whatever. Keep adding on things that are not yours. Got to let them go. So the reflection question I want to give you is, are you solving problems because they're yours, or because you're uncomfortable with leaving them unresolved? We should not be uncomfortable with leaving things unresolved that are not ours. That's just like, I'm going to say it again. Somebody gives you an assignment in class. That's your assignment, but somebody gives your friend their assignment and they don't finish it. Are you going to worry about their assignment? Or are you going to worry about finishing your own? Just ask. So stop solving problems that aren't yours because you're uncomfortable with what's going to happen if they're unresolved. That's their problem. It's not yours. All right. So I'm going to move through 4 and 5 a little bit quicker. The 4th strategy is, I want you to build recovery time into your parenting routine. You need some, and people call this self-care. I know that word is getting a little bit, worn out. But parents who carry invisible loads for others often believe that rest is earned, like we have to do something to earn rest. We have to do something to actually be able to take a nap. And the reality is, rest is recovery for your body. It is not a reward. When we rest, our body does a whole lot of things to help us recover, to help us heal if you've cut yourself and all that type of stuff. That's why in the morning you'll see that, a scab over whatever it is you cut or, scraped or whatever. Your body is healing. If you do not give it rest, you get no recovery. So I want you to schedule a non-negotiable personal time weekly for yourself. Mine was exercising. So at least an hour a day, almost every other day, I was working out. But if you can only do it once weekly, that's okay. Start there. So this is your non-negotiable. This is my protected time. Even if it's 30 minutes. 30 minutes of exercise, 20 to 30 minutes of exercise a day does wonders for people. Even if it's just walking, or if you run or what have you, 20 to 30 minutes does wonders for your body. It's not that much. But weekly, even if it's lunch with friends, just go out to lunch with some friends on the weekend. Or if you have a hobby like scrapbooking or something like that. Or even if it's therapy, you say, I want to start with a therapist 30 minutes, a week, or 30 minutes every other week. You have to have some protected time for yourself. 30 minutes to an hour is best. And daily, you need to create, that's number one, the action that you could do. Okay? Create weekly protected time for yourself. The second one is create daily mental shutdowns for yourself. Routines. You know how your phone can be put on focus time? That's your shutdown time. Put your phone on focus time, 10 minutes a day. Just give yourself 10 minutes to refocus. You can journal, you can look at the rest of your schedule for today, the day or tomorrow's schedule. You can write down unfinished things that you want to do the rest of the day. You can just put the list away and just veg out for 10 minutes and listen to some music. I'm good for listening to music. And then get right back to it for 10 minutes after that 10 minutes. And stop multitasking while you're trying to do recovery activities. You cannot say, I'm shutting down for 10 minutes, and then you over here doing 50 things for that 10 minutes. When you say you shut down mentally, shut it down. When you have your protected time that you are recovering, focus on that. We are so used to technology and distracting ourselves. Get your time in for your rest and recovery. So, the reflective question I want you to think about here is, if your child grew up and parented exactly like you, would you want them living at the pace that you're living at? I'm just asking. I had to think about that as my daughter was growing up and getting into high school, because being a principal and all this type of stuff. And then I had to slow down. I even decided to take a job where I could slow down some, because I wanted to make sure that she understood, that I understood as well, that life is not all about work. And now she's gone through college, she's in graduate school. She is so adamant about taking her rest and recovery time. She'll take a nap in a minute. Like she'll say, I have to get off the phone. She will put her phone on focus time or do not disturb for hours of the day because she's like, I need to disconnect. She has been off social media for, a month or two because she's just like, I can't do this. So when you begin to block your 30 minutes on your calendar for the week, I want you to put on there parent recovery time or put PRT. Treat it with the same importance as a doctor's appointment because that's what you're doing. You're going to the doctor. Okay. If you want to put doctor's appointment on there, if you have a shared calendar with somebody, do that so you can protect that time. Ain't nobody gonna mess with you if you're going to a doctor's appointment. I'm just saying, y'all, you got to do what you got to do. On my calendar these days, I will put what I have to put on there for people to leave me alone. Nobody said that you have to put that is recovery time for you. You can definitely put doctor's appointment. You are going to the doctor. You're taking care of yourself. All right. So that was our fourth strategy. Our fourth strategy was to make sure that you have recovery time. It is a requirement. It is not a reward, and it does not have to be earned. Okay? It is something that you need for your body. All right. So now we've gotten to the last but not least. We have gotten to number 5. I keep using the wrong. Number 5 over here. Okay. Now, the strategy for number 5 is going to be that you are going to stop measuring your worth by how much you carry. We want to, a lot of times, especially women of color, we want to a lot of time equate our worth, our self-worth by how much we're doing, how many people we take care of, how many people we support, the friends that we have, and all this stuff. Man, just stop it. You are worth everything. You are God's child. You are worth everything because you exist. Okay? You are here for a reason. So while being responsible for things is admirable, it's a good thing. Like we all have things that we are responsible for and we take care of them and we do it well. But I am no longer going to be the one that holds everything together for everybody. I'm not doing that. Everybody has their own responsibility to do that for themselves. And self-sacrifice is not what I'm doing. And that should not become your personality either. You cannot sacrifice yourself for somebody else. I used to tell children and I used to tell adults that all the time. I cannot care about you more than you care about yourself. I cannot do for you more than you do for yourself. Nothing outside of you can do better for you than you can do for yourself. So I need you to replace this thing that you have in your mind of if I don't do it, nobody will, with what is the healthiest way that I can get this done? The healthiest way for my mental health, for my physical health, for my emotional health. What is the healthiest way that I can get this done? And I want you to celebrate, things that you complete, responsibilities that you complete, instead of focusing on all the unfinished tasks that we need to check off on our list. Celebrate those small things. I promise you, the other day I was out so long running errands. I did not think it was going to take me that long. I got two things done on my list of five, but I was so happy I got those two things done. You want to know why? Because I started with the two hardest things that I could have gotten done. I thought they were going to be hard. They took longer than I thought, but I thought they were going to be hard. They really weren't that hard, just a little bit time consuming. So start celebrating those things that you completed rather than focusing on, oh man, I didn't get that done. Start asking for support before you reach being exhausted and angry and upset. And practice accepting, oh, that was good enough for today. Instead of thinking that you got to be perfect at everything. We can go from good to great, and in between it's still good enough. Okay? And that's all right. We're going to have days like that, especially as parents. Every day is not going to be, we got everything done and everything went right. You all know that. So, what I want you to do as far as a reflection plan is I want you to think about who would you be if you stopped proving yourself valuable through over functioning for other people. Who would you be? What would you do? What extra hobbies would you have? How would you use your extra time? Okay? If you weren't over functioning and taking on the things of other people. And at the end of each day, I want you to practice like writing down three things, two or three things that you accomplished. One thing that you maybe gave over to somebody else, because sometimes we do need to delegate. And one thing that you intentionally let wait because you were like, I didn't necessarily have to do this right now. Or that's something my co-parent should be doing. All right. So once again, I'm going to attach this graphic to the description for the podcast because I know some people are going to need some reminders. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask because I know I went through a lot of action steps and examples for you on here. Go back and rewatch if you need to. I tried to go a little bit slower so we wouldn't have to, you wouldn't have to, but go back and rewatch if you need to. Send this to somebody who you think this might be helpful for them to be able to plan out what they need to do in their co-parenting relationship because they're just doing too much. Okay. And it should be shared ownership in this relationship. It should not just be one parent doing everything. So the bottom line to this topic is that the goal is not, well, I'm going to say this and I've been saying this, to become a perfect co-parent. Okay? You are not up front running for, the president of being the best co-parent. That's not what we're doing. The goal is for you to stop being the sole manager of every emotion or every schedule or every problem or every detail of your child's life. You have a co-parent, like a co-op, that means that there's some shared ownership there. So reducing this load for you starts with you creating the systems that you need instead of relying on your memory. These are the 5 things we just went over. Creating the system, remember that brain system, instead of relying on your memory. Structuring communication, clarifying your responsibilities, prioritizing your own recovery, and then releasing the belief that your worth is measured by your exhaustion. Because being a good co-parent should not require you carrying everybody's stuff or ish on your shoulders. Your primary goal is to be a good co-parent and be a great parent to your child. Okay? Once again, your competence in this area should not become everybody else's convenience. Burnout is not proof that you love your children more than the other co-parent, and I don't want you to get there. So, thank you guys this evening for tuning in to the podcast. Hopefully, I see you in the next episode. In the next episode, I think I'm going to go to a new topic. If I do extend this topic based on any feedback that I'm given, then it's probably going to go more in depth to some more strategies that you can use for reducing this invisible load, because this is a huge conversation for a lot of co-parents that feel like they are taking on this whole parenting thing that we have chosen by themselves. So if you are doing it by yourself, these strategies should help. And if I need to, I'll bring some in the next episode. But also the next episode, I may bring on a guest. So it'll be a surprise. I'll see if I get some feedback from you guys. But be sure to look for the this graphic and also the other resource that I'm going to provide you for the strategies that we talked about tonight for reducing your invisible load. As always, I'm going to say go out there and co-parent with a purpose. I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.